Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. So a few years back, I was watching a bunch of test firings of Taurus Judge revolvers chambered in .45 Colt and .410. And the patterns they were producing at 5 to 7 yards were, as you might expect from the very short barrels, short rifled barrels, the patterns are pretty abysmal. Except for the triple-aught buck shells, which were printing significantly tighter patterns at 7 yards. And I wondered why that could be. Well, triple-aught buck is .38 caliber. So I wondered if this wad was not acting as a sabot or sabot and imparting some stabilization, some spin to those 3 balls in a row, which would account for the tighter patterns. So when in the fullness of time, I had a ragged out single shot shotgun and happened across a section of .451 muzzle loading barrel, I proceeded to convert the 12 gauge shotgun into a .45 Colt .410 single shot carbine. And I wound up with not quite enough muzzle loader barrel, so I pinned and welded a muzzle device on that I made out of a section of 16 gauge shotgun barrel, if I recall correctly, and proceeded to test it. Now at 7 yards, it produced, or at 10 yards rather, it produced 12 to 15 inch patterns, which is pretty much a little larger than you would expect from a standard cylinder bore smoothbore shotgun. But, well within the expected range. Then I fired a single round of 2.5 inch .410 triple-aught buck with 3 pellets. And they produced a 2 to 2.5 inch pattern at 10 yards. So I thought, probably I'm onto something here. So later, I came across some 3 inch triple-aught buck .410 with 5 balls. And I decided to take the rifled .45 Colt .410 carbine and a full-size single-shot .410 out with us to pattern them side by side and see if there really was any definable benefit when shooting triple-aught buck through a .45 caliber rifled bore. But before we get into the weeds on that, I'd like to shout out to my supporters on Patreon. It's very much a shoestring operation and your contributions help more than you know. I'd also like to thank channel benefactors, those individuals and businesses who have contributed to the channel in innumerable ways and really helped make it work. Also, as always, shout out to Rain City Shooting Supply for providing material support to the channel. So, this shotgun, which will have its own video eventually, is a single shot .410. It's fairly typical of the breed. It has a 28 inch full choke barrel. So it chokes down quite a bit smaller than .41 caliber. And it's very functional. It works very nicely. So this was the test gun. And if you're interested, this is an FIE .410 shotgun, probably made in the 1960s. So I did the test side by side while my friends and I were out at the Capitol Forest the other day at a public land shooting area. And the results were interesting. And I drew some conclusions about those results, which in the shooting video were incorrect conclusions. But we'll talk about that after you have a look at the shooting video. So this is a typical .410 single shot full choke, full-length barrel, and this is Federal triple-aught buck, 5 pieces of triple-aught. Let's see what kind of pattern we get at 10 yards. Head to the target. That's a pretty good pattern.
Not bad, not bad.
Now we're going to try it from the rifled .45 Colt .410 and see what that does to the pattern.
Pretty solid pattern.
Pattern is about identical. So the question was whether the rifling would stabilize the triple-aught buck and produce a tighter pattern at 10 yards. The initial results seem to suggest it does, but this result says no, it's not producing a tighter pattern. Good to know. So as you can see in the shooting video, both shotguns shot near as damn it the exact same pattern size at 10 yards. This one's was just a bit larger, but that's probably within the normal statistical variance from shot to shot. And I concluded that the rifling made no difference. It was a busy day. I was distracted and filming a whole bunch of other stuff, and I just wasn't thinking about it thoroughly enough because I was wrong. Because a cylinder bore shotgun this length without rifling would be illegal, but that's another story. Would shoot a 10 to 12 inch pattern at 10 yards, and instead it shot about a 5-inch pattern, the same as the full length, full choke gun. So I'd have to say it did have an effect. And this shotgun with other shells at 10 yards, you know, smaller shot sizes, does produce great big patterns, 12 to 15 inches. So I think there is something going on there. I'm going to have to do more testing, but I'm intrigued. And if you missed the video about this shotgun, the muzzle device is there. It's pinned and welded because I needed to extend the section of barrel I had enough to be legal. And I thought, since I was putting an extension on, I might as well bore holes in it and make it like a muzzle brake. It's not seriously effective or anything, but it does look better than just having a tube sticking out there. Also, this has a great big ball front sight, which allows acceptable accuracy at 10 to 25 yards. So anyway, interesting results, not necessarily conclusive, but again, with other shot sizes, the 45 Colt 410 carbine shoots 12 to 15 inch patterns, and it shot about a 5.5 inch pattern with the triple-aught buck. So it does look like something's going on there, and I am going to have to do more shooting and kind of see what I can establish from that. But I thought I'd share this with y'all, and that's it for this time. So I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you again real soon.